So today is my friend Balake's 57th or 8th birthday. I probably should know that, but I don't. But anyway, he's in his late 50s, and we are fortunate to live in a neighborhood where we have a bunch of folks that have all become really good friends over the last few years. Some of us were already friends before, but during the lockdown period and all that stuff, we just spent a lot of time with each other, become really good friends. Anyway, we started buying each other birthday gifts. The ladies, I think, for the most part, not to blame them on them, but I believe it was them who started it. Started buying lavishing each other with birthday gifts and all this stuff. And so then some of the guys started doing it. Pretty soon, everybody's buying everybody birthday gifts and all that kind of stuff. And most of us are in not in the younger crowd. We're in the older crowd. And I finally told my bride, I said, we got to cut this off at some point. It's getting out of control. Why don't we just celebrate everybody's birthday, but we don't have to buy stuff. Plus, what do you buy people that, somebody that's got, most of what they probably want already. So I thought to myself, Balake, I bet nobody's ever gone out on your birthday and shot you a feral hog. Now, I got to tell you, the odds of me slipping down the side of this hill down toward the creek and slipping up on a feral hog is probably slammed to pretty close to zero. For those of you who might come across this by accident who know about hog hunting, these hogs are just smart as they can be, and they've got great hearing and eyesight, and you're just not likely to slip up on one. They want nothing to do with human beings. But we had a really big rain last couple of days. That creek down there at the bottom of this hill below the cabin is just, I can hear it from up here. It's really running. And so there's a hog waller down here about halfway down this hill, and I'm thinking, we've got them on camera there quite a few times. If I could slip up on one and pop one for Balake, and we'll have us a big old hog roast over there on Josephus's spit that he's got fired up in his backyard most of the time. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Again, the odds are slim. I'm going to give it a shot. Previous post, I talked about tactical 12-gauge shotgun. I've got a couple of them with me today. I only need one. I think I'm going to take my newest rig, that one that I showed on that previous post, and I'm going to load it. Excuse me. I'm going to load it with some double-aught buckshot at 3-inch mags. I think I could get them in here. I think I can get 4 in there. Maybe 5. It's got an extended tube. Anyway, I'm going to try that. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. So I loaded that 12 gauge, and I'm really just showing these shells just to give folks a perspective. Most of the folks who, at least people I know who are watching some of these, don't know a lot about guns. So that's why some of the stuff I'm talking about here is fairly basic. And if you're a longtime gunner or firearm enthusiast or maybe an expert, this might bore you. But actually, now that I think about it, gun folks, man, they like all this kind of stuff, I think, actually. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. So I've got 5 high brass double-aught bucks. Well, they're all high brass double-aught buckshot, but 3-inch Remingtons. What's kind of cool is I've got a old bag of odd-and-end shotgun shells I've had for years. And if I'm not mistaken, these particular shells that are in this gun are from whenever my brother and I were teenagers. So let's call it 45, 50 years ago. So how awesome would it be to whack a big feral hog, or a small feral hog, or even a medium-sized feral hog for my friend Balake on his birthday? We're going to give it a shot. So you can hear that creek running. Again, the odds of me slipping up on a feral hog anytime, but especially during the day when they're sleeping and they're on the lookout, no doubt, for predators, is slammed to zero. But I'm going to give it a shot. Today's a good day. The wind is not necessarily working in my favor, but rarely are all things perfect. So I'm going to get going. I'm going to walk down all the way down to the creek. I'm going to slip down real quietly and see what happens. So I crept along really just as quietly as I could for the speed I was going. Now, if you're a hunter, particularly if you're a deer hunter in the Midwest and you're watching this, you're probably thinking to yourself, man, you're going way too fast, you're not camouflaged, you're taking too many steps before you stop, you're not stopping long enough, and you'd be right on all that. But I had limited time, and this was kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing, but I was still trying to be as quiet as I possibly could, and I wanted to get down around that point right down there, a little below that to the left there, you see those evergreens, that. Here's where the hogs had this torn up just on the trail going down to the creek, and I'm 95% sure those are hogs that had torn that ground up. There were some hoof prints in there. It was a little bit hard to tell if they were good sized deer or hog, but that's that waller area there, covered up by leaves, some of it. But they had used it a little bit recently, but not extensively. And so went on down a little further, and where that trail goes around those evergreens, I was really being super quiet as I could, watching, because I thought it'd be a good spot for them to be laying on the other side. And realistically, they were probably, if they would have been laying there, would have seen me or heard me before I would have seen or heard them. So I might have smelled them before they saw me. But anyway, there was some more prints down there toward the bottom, and then I came across another area that was torn up pretty good and looked like they might have wallowed around a little bit in it. But no sign of anything on the way down there to the creek. I slipped down here to the creek, being as quiet as I possibly could, and as I thought, I of course didn't see a hog, but I got to thinking. I thought, these darn hogs, even though I've been told and read that they pretty much stay put during the day, I have seen them walking around during the days one time in my life, and I know some other folks that have seen them in the mid part of the day. So I'm going to just sit up here. I've got a perfect ambush spot in the unlikely event that one or more of these hogs might come down, be wandering around, maybe looking for something to eat. Certainly they need to drink. So I'm going to sit down here for a while and just see what happens. They say you can't catch a fish if you don't have a hook in the water or a line in the water, and your odds of shooting a feral hog in downtown Bentonville are pretty slim. I think the odds out here are much better, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit right up here for a while and just see what happens. It's a beautiful day, great day to be out in the woods. I've been walking down there to that creek for about 25 years, and I've never seen it without water in it. And of course we had a rain about a day, 2 days before this, pretty heavy rain, so there's still a lot of runoff. I really wish that darn creek rolled like that all year long, but if it did, our place would probably be part of the Mark Twain National Forest, which is just right behind where I'm sitting and taking this video here right now. So it's just beautiful, and I thought about getting in that water if I'd had a little more time. If my bride hadn't given me get to home time, I'd have maybe got down to my skivs and jumped in that water there, believe it or not. Of course, it's easy to say since I didn't do it. But I set up on that little ambush spot there. It's just a straight drop off right to my left there down to the creek, about 12, 14 feet. But there's a game trail that runs right along the side of the creek on the other side, very prominent game trail. And also just in between the camera, about where that camera's sitting right now, it's right on a game trail. So I was keeping an eye all around because I knew if there were any hogs around down in there, my only chance was a literal ambush. They'd had to come walking up on me or below me down there. But I was looking up that hill too. It's so brushy and thick down in there. To me, it's just a haven for hogs and certainly for deer. I mean, golly, we've got so many deer out there and all kinds of other critters, bobcats and coyotes and bears and all kinds of stuff. But I just sat there and was just enjoying the day. I was so glad I did that. It was just a fun afternoon. Total time it took me to do this, and even with shooting some video footage here to be able to throw this together, total time was probably 2 hours or so, 2.5 hours maybe I spent. Probably about 2 hours out in the woods. But man, it was just for those of y'all who are hunters, particularly if you're deer hunters where you're sitting and waiting a lot, sometimes you can just you imagine you see something, you hear something. 2 or 3 times I thought, man, I think something is, you know, right over there, or I see something or saw some movement, but unfortunately I did not. I'll go ahead, spoiler alert here, there's still a few minutes left in this video, but if you stumble across this, hoping not, you're going to see some guy whack a hog. It didn't happen. Could have, of course, it always can, but so I thought, well, I'll walk down that game trail a little further on down the creek, get a little closer to the creek, and I put that no trespass sign up, gosh, probably 23, 4 years ago. But you can maybe see that game trail just right along runs parallel with that creek and up around that tree. Found you find all kinds of cool things if you just keep your eyes open. That's just a little snail shell. I'm not a crustacean expert, so I don't know if that's just a regular snail or some kind of creek snail or whatever, but kind of cool, so I thought I'll stick that in the pocket and maybe give that to one of the grandkids. That rock was just really cool. I'm not a geologist either, but you can tell that there's limestone, and then there's, I think that's chert rock, and then some kind of stuff in between it. I don't know, molten maybe, I don't know. I don't know how it works, but just a really cool little rock. But so I sat down in that spot there for another 15, 20 minutes or so, and believe it or not, it was kind of a little unnerving, because down there the creek, the water's running, it's pretty loud, and you know, the stuff's so thick, and you know, I don't like the idea of anything sneaking up on me, so I was, you know, looking all around. My head was kind of on a swivel, which just makes it exciting. It makes it a little more exciting. Use imagination. But that hole right there, I thought about, well, right back just this side of that. I spoke too late, but I thought about just going down, getting down to my underwear and going down there for fun, and just maybe just so I could say I did. I don't know, but jump in that water, and so I didn't. But maybe next time. Maybe next time I'm out there. But you can see how gnarly that is up in there. That board on that used to have a no trespassing sign, would have been, again, 24 or 5 years ago I put it up. And no doubt when I did, I stood right in front of that and nailed it onto that tree. I don't remember, but since then that water has eaten back into that bank and almost right up to that tree. This was I've seen this before, and it's not, I haven't seen a lot, but it's some kind of a fungus or something growing. I don't know that I've seen it on a cedar tree before, but well, as I suspected, I came up empty-handed. I didn't think I'd see a feral hog, and if I did, I figured it'd be slim that I'd have a chance to get a shot at it before it saw me or heard me. And that's exactly what happened, if there was any around. May not be any within a mile of here right now, I don't know, but I suspect they're around here somewhere. But I sat down there along that side of that creek for a while. Man, what a beautiful afternoon. It was just, it is still. It's an amazing day. It's probably 54, 55 degrees maybe at the most, somewhere in there. And, you know, slightly scattered clouds, as they say, but just gorgeous day for sitting beside a creek. Good thing about sitting beside that creek. But anyway, Block A, I sure gave it a heck of a try, and I had a good afternoon doing it. While I'm here, I did a previous post about this tactical 12 gauge, and so I've loaded, I'm actually just going to shoot, I might shoot it a couple times, but I've set up a stump over here. Actually, it's not a stump, it's just a limb, an old limb off a hickory tree. It's about half hollowed out, and on top of that, I put a sandstone that's about 1 inch thick and about roughly 6 inches square yeah, probably about 6 inches square. I'm going to stand back about 10 feet, and I'm gonna shoot that with a 3-inch double-aught buckshot, just to give you an idea. This is not an actual ballistics test, because I'm not using ballistics material and the gel and all that stuff that the pros use. But in any event, this will give you at least a decent idea of the power of a 12 gauge when loaded with double-aught buckshot, 3-inch. So here we go. Oh my gosh, I never get tired of shooting a 12 gauge. My dang ears are ringing. That was stupid. I didn't forget to put in ear protection. I just intentionally didn't. I'm so used to shooting lighter loads, like field loads, out of a 12 gauge most of the time. I don't really hunt turkey anymore or anything to speak of, so it's been a while since I've shot turkey loads, which would be 3.5 inch, more like 4-shot, but this double-aught buckshot 3-inch, 15 good sized pellets in there. But you can see what it did to that rock. I mean, it absolutely shattered that darn thing. I also didn't have eye protection on, that was stupid. That rock, actually, part of those fragments came back toward me, which surprises me. So if you're watching this and you're not a gunner and you're thinking about becoming one, always wear ear protection and eye protection. You know, it's just a good thing to do. Anyway, I'm going to set that log back up, and I'm going to whack it one time with another shell with that rock on top of it. But before I do that, I'm going to go get some ear protection and some eye protection. So this time I've got a half-gallon jug of Index, Diet Coke, and water. And I have absolutely no idea other than that's just what I had to fill that up with. I wanted something with some color in it. But I'm going to shoot that again with a 3-inch double-aught buckshot. I'm going to stand a couple of feet closer, about 10 feet, and we'll just see what happens. I'm going to shoot twice. First time I'm going to try to mostly just shoot the bottle, not knock off that round, that hickory round. But if I do, I'll set it back up there and shoot it again. I want to see what it'll do a second time to just that hickory log. So I just walked down there to get that, what was left, that plastic bottle, and stepped it off, coming back up the hill there. And it just blew the snot out of that darn bottle, expectedly. 22 yards. Now that's just a plastic bottle, but I think you kind of get the idea there. As one of the viewers said when I did that post about, even if you don't load a pump 12 gauge, everybody knows what it is, and it'd be a pretty formidable protection weapon for your home. But and he I can't remember who it was there, but he said he keyed back, he commented, "It better be loaded." And I commented back, "I agree," or "You're right." And so anyway, pretty cool little test. That's for Balake on your birthday, my friend. And hope you had a great one. You'll probably be over by the time you see this. Why, oh why do you make me lie when you say things like, "Do I look fat in this dress?" Why, oh why do you make me cry when all I ever wanted to do was tell you the truth?